of Roxamillion Unleashed. I'm Roxamillion, and I want you to get a pen. I want you to call a friend, but I want you to stay tuned in. We're going to talk today about the motto of mamahood. Not motherhood, don't get it twisted. The motto of mamahood. We're going to talk about mamas, especially my mama, and what that spirit has done for our lives to go forward and take our good to great. Today I have one of my media sisters in studio. Margot, would you introduce yourself?
Listen, my name is Good Morning, and it's a pleasure to be here with my sister. I'm here to say that this is going to be an exciting show. We're talking about not just a single woman, but a woman who wore many, many hats. This woman was dynamic. So, Roxy, let me just let you continue to let this flow.
Okay. So today, I know that mothers are very special to each and every one of us, and we don't really understand their value, Margot, until they're no longer here. As much as we do for our parents as we live this life, it's when they're gone that you remember every little thing that they've said and done and taught you, and the stuff that you thought was like really like weird and a little offshoot. You find yourself kind of patterning your behavior right behind the thing you thought was crazy and out of control. And so I want to maybe help a young woman that's listening to us understand that mamas are a little different from just mothers. And we can talk about, yes, how we come to this place. Women have the ability to take something from the spiritual world and birth it into the earth. I mean, we're just different from men. Yes. So we have a different kind of power, but once it's here, we have an innate ability to nurture that thing into a greatness. And so I want to talk a little bit about my mother today in tribute to a woman that went before me, and I mean, she laid it all out. She poured it out, and if I don't have it, it's my fault, because she gave everything that she had to make sure that she pulled her children out of poverty, that she made us decent citizens, and that she made us respect service. And so I think that came from like her spiritual background, that she believed in a power higher than herself, and what she ate, she fed her children. You know, mamas taste test stuff. They don't just feed their kids stuff. They taste it first and then say, this is good enough for my child to digest.
Well, let's listen. Let's get into this a little bit, because I was at her homecoming, and it was an exciting time for me because I sat in the audience of listening to somebody that I have seen several times, and each time this lady was like a powerhouse. She was as tall as the Sears Tower to me.
Only 5'2".
But however, the accolades kept on rolling. And I kept trying to figure out, and I kept taking notes. I just wrote all over her obituary front. Every page is full. But however, the takeaway for me is never stop believing in community. And what she shared is an example of who you are today, because I see a lot of those, a lot of her spirit in you. And I think that certain things can't be taught into you. It has to be birthed into you. Now, if anything else, and anybody else that may know anything, you know about birthing. So I know God placed her here because it's impossible for one woman to be able to have ran that race like she did. So let us talk a little bit more about her, and only you can tell the story.
Yeah, and you know what's so interesting is in the transition of her life, I had to really wrestle with my older brother and my son, because her request was not to have a funeral. Her request was not to have this body that no longer has the spirit in it laid in front of anyone. She wanted people to remember their last time with her. And the wrestling match began because I have a younger son who has lived with my mother, but he only knows his grandmother. And I said, she was so much bigger than your grandmother.
Yes.
And I think having the memorial service did what it was set out to do, is that it showed him, you had a grandmother, I had a mother, but this community had a legacy. They had a leader. They had a lady They had a lady one that had class.
Yes.
She didn't compromise. She didn't back down, whether it was male or female opponents. And she was a beast. She ate them up. You know, she had something on her mind, Margot. They had something to wrestle with.
Listen, it was obvious. One side of the podium of the church, one side of the pulpit of the church had her in a Wonder Woman's outfit. And then on the other side, she had on canary yellow.
Yes.
And that was the lady, just elegant lady, petite lady.
Yeah.
And it was like Wonder Woman, petite lady,
Yes.
matriarch,
Yes.
community
Yes.
activist.
Say that.
Oh my goodness, I can't say them all.
Yes. And you know what's so funny? Because when it's so many different perspectives. When they did the life-size photos, right?
Yes.
And I approved of both. You know why that yellow canary was there? I'm gonna crack you up. I wanted to preach one Sunday, and I wanted ruffle sleeves, and I ordered that dress online in my size. But when it came to the house, Margot, I couldn't fit it. Was mad, had to go to Ashley Stewart's, find me something quick to wear. My mother went to a retirement banquet and rocked it. And that's the kind of babe this my mother was. She could just take something simple, put her little touch to it, and bling. She would blow it out the water.
Her hair was what color?
Blonde.
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 And canary yellow.
You know how many people told my mother she was too black to wear blonde? She rocked it. She rocked it. Whatever she touched, she authentically made it her own. And you know why? And there's something that you talk to me about all the time. Being your authentic self. Whoever is listening to me, nobody cares about your lips, hips, fingertips, your shoes, or hairdo. They're trying to figure out who you are authentically. My mother taught us to work and to go to school. However, she didn't teach us to do lashes, nails, and all of that stuff because she knew the exterior is not who you are. Even if you got the job, that didn't define who you were as a person.
Yes.
And so she made sure that we were our authentic selves. What you work to do is how you earned your money, who you are, reflected on her. And my mother was very intentional that whatever we did in the street had something to do with her.
Yes.
And I think that's the model of momahoods. When mamas send their kids out, grown or otherwise, and they still feel a connection that whatever you do in the street reflects back home.
Yes.
And you better govern yourself accordingly, or you got a tiger to tangle with. And I feel that now.
Yes.
I felt that then. If I didn't represent right,
Well, you represent well, so let me just tell you this. I have never seen you in a baggy pair of blue jeans. I've never seen you with no gym shoes. I have never seen you with a pair of gym shoes on that didn't have some bling on it. And then I've never seen you in a do-rag. Listen, every time I've seen you, you represented what the way that they described her legacy, that's what I've seen in you all the time. So I thank Almighty God that she laid a foundation. And she left the foundation for me, not just you, sister, because I got some of that.
Okay. And I love it because I've had, when you have a mother who is community, who is service,
Yeah.
As a child, and I'm so sure so many younger people can relate to this kind of mamahood. You got to share her, and you have to share her sometimes sacrificially.
Yeah.
Because when she says she's going to be someplace, she's going to be there, and she's going to be there on time.
Mm-hmm.
And if by chance her children have to wait a little longer for her to get back to them, that she would service the community, that's what we had to do, and we had not to complain. We could not complain. What are you complaining for? You have me 24/7. They have me for an hour. Get yourself, get your mind right.
See, this skating thing. Let's talk about this woman on skates.
Let me at 74
And could jam on skate. She was
dance.
a stepper on skates.
Let me say this. My mother, she said, if you
She was a
dance, don't do it right. Don't do it all.
Let me
at
say
all.
this.
And so when
My
she
mother,
went
she
and
said,
skated,
"You're
it's
not
a
gonna
legacy,
do it right.
right? Don't do it
at
all.
all."
My grandmother
And so when
skated,
she
she
went and
skated,
skated,
it's a
and then
legacy
she
to
taught
our
her children
family.
that
My
my
mother
didn't
didn't want to be like us, you know, we used to do the
and then she taught her children
that.
that.
My
So
mother
she
didn't
learned
want
how
to be
to
like us, you
dance
know, we
on the
used to do
skates like they ice
She
skates.
wasn't
So she would have
that. So she
certain
learned how
skate
to dance on the
partners.
skates,
You know, and
like
everybody
ice
knew
skates.
she
So
was
she would have
bad.
certain,
And
you know, the brothers that were like trying to get
you know,
little
and
sunshine
everybody
to come up,
she
and
was
they
bad.
said, well,
And
like, you know, the brothers that were like trying to get a little sunshine,
you know,
come up,
so
and they said,
she
well,
had
you know,
certain
would you like that she was skating
no,
with, and it was Imogen, you know, so she had certain was who that she created, and she wasn't gonna back down from it. So
because you couldn't skate,
and you wanted to
was
skate
who
with
she
Miss
created,
Lillian, and she wasn't gonna back down from
no,
it.
so
bueno.
you couldn't skate,
you know, and you wanted to
I
skate with
love
Miss
the
Lillian,
fact that she
no
had
go,
intention
no bueno.
about how
you know,
she
and
presented
I
her
love
authentic
the fact
and
that
she
she
didn't let
had
anybody
intention
So
about
let's go to
how
this
she
area
presented her
that
authentic
shares
self.
out with
And she
millions
didn't let
across
anybody
the
compromise.
world. So let's go to this area
Love for animals.
that shares with millions across
I,
the
you know,
world.
in planning that memorial service, I'm not as close to my brother. In planning that
But
memorial
I mean, it was an
service, I'm not as close to my mother had rescued 22 dogs. But I mean, it was an education for him. My mother had rescued, and she made it an issue that she wasn't going to buy a breed dog. She didn't plan to, you know, sell dogs. She planned to breed dogs. You know, plan to, you know, that was sale dogs. She planned to, and she wanted them to be, you know, homes the same way. That was, and I told her, if I wanted them to be with a person, I want to come back the same way. And because my mother, I've never seen a wife be jealous of the dog. She said, because my mother letting those dogs, I've never seen a wife be jealous of the dog. She's, I mean, shampoo, letting those dogs nails, and they eat certain kind of dogs. I mean, don't shampoo, and their skin nails, like they eat certain kind of dogs. Don't, you know, and their skin dogs should look like meat coats. You know, she was unimaginable. And dogs, she I watched her rescue dogs that was unimaginable. And I watched her rescue around like they were, you know, King Kong and y'all going over here. Y'all know that's why I walked around like they were, you know, King Kong and y'all going over here. Y'all know that's she had matching. She had my mother's a Virgo just for her dogs. She had matching dogs. She had matching, you know, my mother's a Virgo. What do they call it? So she had matching. You know, dog cups, you know, everything in what do they call it? Placemats, like that. You know, everything in her house, so everything in place house that wasn't in her house. She had no problem. Everything in her house had they didn't have place or wasn't in her house. She had no problem letting things go if they didn't have a place to be in the house.
Let's go to our let's go to police officers, the people that were being veterans, kissing each police officers, crying throughout the ceremony, veterans were people that she fed. These are people that she motivated to be their greatest self. So tell me about the that she fed. These are people that she motivated to be their greatest self. So tell me
started out as an activist. So Lillian, you know, and she was one that started out as an activist. But then when she realized that, you know, and she was one that not see something and say something, she would turn up. But then when she realized and her way of time was not volume was getting, she would turn up the volume. She was a movement. And her way of turning up the volume example of the two involved. She was a movement. Here's a good example of the two. They during COVID, they closed the road. I mean, this is the only to the legacy road. And she said, you know, this is decades. I mean, this is the, and they act like this is just some kind of business that closed. This is decades. And she said, God, and they act like this is just some kind of business that closed place. And she said, God became one ain't going out of business. This woman started a movement because people became one doing. This woman started had a congregation of doing skaters. One of their ice skaters had a congregation of skaters, the ice skaters. Even in a and they gave that man almost hearings of it. They were not going to tear that place down. Even in a COVID situation, he had almost hearings. Village were not going to tear that place down, and that was one lady, you know, as a not satisfied to open it back up. And that was one lady in a trying to not satisfy
name brand.
his stuff, you know. She didn't go and get Jesse because she wasn't a name brand. Talk about it herself, you know. She didn't go and get Jesse to never talk about it. She wouldn't talk about it herself. Is that she wasn't that she was something I would she spoke. She wanted everyone to listen. Is that she wasn't an echo. She was a voice. When she spoke, she wanted everyone to listen to the politicians. Even in our buildings with a lot of those seniors were not getting the service of politicians, even in our building. Flooding outside their homes were not getting the mail not being delivered on time. Lily and Baby flooding outside their homes. Mail not being delivered on time. Donald signing up in the mayor's brigade. She didn't care who they were. Every mayor from Donald they did not serve. All mayor attitude here who they were. Like she said, she cared that they did not serve and have an attitude that you serve outside. She said, not ancestors today. So you know this is service, meaning that you serve outside, not ancestors today.
So you know what this testimony, it's going to take testimony that she bore across your Western Lillian Baker. It's going to take every little small town, large town, Lillian Baker, all fighting every little small town, large town, even though the people are withdrawing and they're scared fight talking one to the other people. But if even she was here today, withdrawing and they're scared, she tell me one of the city and but she was here today, stores and talking. She tell me that the city and art shops and multitude.
She would probably start by motivating them, telling them that you're powerful. But you're not powerful. Would probably start by motivating them, telling them that you're powerful. That if there's but you're not powerful in your act, powerful. You have the power. And that if there's anything that you just have in your atmosphere, know how to successfully use that power, and you just have to have that power. Know how I think that's what she would say. And always the legacy she leaves here is that I'm not satisfied. I think, you know, even the legacy we're on Roxamillion is that when I'm not satisfied, I want to have, you know, we're on Roxamillion Unleashed because I want to have and to take things that are important to our community and move it into immediate things that are important to our communities. You have to know what our issues are. How can you know them if you don't know us? You have to know what our issues are, and how can you know them if you don't know us? And so I'm bringing the people to the politicians.
And this unleashed part came as
you know what? Actually, my mother was in the thought because if being the I'm the only you know what? Actually, my mother was in the thought because if being and I'm the only born kind of powerful woman, you always understand your place. And now you walk behind a powerful woman, you always understand that house. All you young people that live with your mom in her house, I don't understand me in that house. One woman in that house, live with your mom. You had your own house, you ain't a real woman. Woman up, anyway. One woman in that house, you had your own house, you ain't a real woman. Woman up, anyway. Early on that I had to down some of me back in order for her to have early on that I had to down some of me back in order for her to whether they're honor or not, I still owe them that honor give over. So whether they're transitioning or not, you still owe them that honor. You know, I watched them. So with her transition, the kingdom. I watched her being. I watched her rule the women, and I watched her do it. I watched her balance. I watched her rule she was women, and I watched her do it with a sense of balance. She was never arrogant, and you got her point, and she never had to be this what we call the mad black woman. And you got her, you know, she never had to be just she did it what we call the mad black woman. She know she was numbers, you know, she let you know she did it with numbers. She got this, you know, I'm not saying you numbers, you know, she let you know, and she knew how to dial you back up. I'm not saying back in your own and so and she knew how to dial you back up and put you back in your own. Those are things you ain't gonna learn out of Texas. Those are things a model learn in the universe where she shows you how to take that issue. That's a model. Then she says, where she showed figure out how you that issue. And now bring it back to the community as an activist. Figure out how you add that issue. And so and now bring it back to the community as I thought I wanted to be as an advocate. And so I think that mine we've down. I thought I wanted to be a politician. I think that my journey is to be that activist, that advocate. I think that my journey is to be that activist, that advocate for their people. And you and I are unsung women, and it says, "Don't redeem the Lord say so." And gotta learn how to open your mouth. And it says, "Redeem the Lord say so." is gotta learn how to open their mouths. And the other thing when you deal with community issues, even though you might be so she's showing you how to take it when you deal with the same issue together, and then go. She's showing you how to take something about when there is them together, and then go address the issue. And it's something about when there is many. The movement moves a little fast.
But you know, it's a powerful thing to where she is. She has the utmost respect for me. I happen to be one that favors me more than anything. Utmost respect for me. I happen to be one that in her case, what I saw in that church was men who was in her case, what I saw in that orange church was as men who had gotten each other, asking each other, what are we going to each other?
Now, see, I'm gonna say ouch before I say amen, because you absolutely right. My mother, now see, I'm gonna say ouch before I say amen, because she definitely spoiled my brother and my son. She just had she definitely spoiled my brother and my son. She just had just a passion for men. She knew and it's like she know how to get in their mind, work them around to where she wanted them to be. She knows how to get in their mind, and so work them around to where she wanted them to be. And for my grandmother, because we had and so I think she, I don't know if she learned that technique when she went into we had a matriarchal activist, but when she went into, you know, if the sister hadn't had her man right, she would have been bad on the street to the same. Because you know, if the sister hadn't had her man right, she would have been bad on the street. Just like God positioned out. She knew how to position them and then move their hand. I used to just like God positioned out. She knew how to position them she put the words in their hand. I know. And wherever they move, I know Lillian is somewhere in the background. You know, okay, and wherever they move, I know Lillian is somewhere in the background. So I think that she had how loud this is. She was a dresser. So I woman that she had a woman. She was a man. She was a dresser. So I know she wasn't a woman. My mother had a background. She wasn't perfect, but she worked the brothers. And you know what else? My mother had a background. She wasn't perfect, but she knew how to work the brothers.
And you know what, it is important to understand that because now, you know, you're looking at a community, you're looking at a world, now it is so much degraded and both sides to it. You now have to take a stance, and that stance is as a mother who has a son, who has brothers, who has nieces, who has nephews, so a lot of nephews and a lot of uncles. And I'm one that favor men. So, however, Roxy, one year, how are you getting this process? I'm so excited about you being
My greatest cheerleader. I tell you, if you don't have a Marvel, my greatest cheerleader. I tell you, if you don't have a Marvel, I guess I will leave. I guess you know we always have more talking. We have time, but I guess I will leave. Now in a woman's formula, that ain't a good thing. But in a man's world, now in a woman's world, that ain't a good thing. But in a man's world, she can run in power, money, and sex. She said because those are three things that always devastate. Under control, you can leave. And so for because those are the three things that always devastate. In order to come to and so for me, I had to understand. I don't want to be distracted in order to come to an understanding of leadership. I don't want to always distracted or detour because I didn't pay attention to the lesson. But if you don't think she always talk about this lesson, you can get this lesson free and it's gonna cost you. But if you don't get it, that's you're gonna buy this lesson with a lot of you're either gonna learn the lesson or you're gonna buy the lesson. That's the thing I let with a lot of and I either gonna learn the lesson or you're gonna buy the lesson. That's a brilliant lesson. And I bought too many lessons. Why she not to share with our young people be a little who she was, why she was like she was, and so how you know be a little. I am just excited about what we're going to do, but I am and so you know I am just excited about what we're going to do. But I am going to Roxamillion unleashed me. My mom ain't the woman that say what I want to say. Roxamillion unleashed me. My mom ain't here. I can say what I want to say. It's my show. She taught me ownership of your own stuff. You can say what you want to say. That is a reality. And have a sense of reality. That is a reality that you create. And that's what Roxamillion unleashed television. We are creating our own reality. They don't have to watch television. It won't be television programming. They will not be programming my mind. I will be programming their mind. How about that?
I like to say, I I like this. And in closing, I just want to just thank you for allowing me to sit in. And this happens to be the second show. But I hope it airs as the first show. But however, Roxy, listen. Girl, listen. Alicia's been unleashed. I can feel the spirit flying all over everywhere.
I'm not gonna compromise, and here's what I say from a little girl. Here's what
Don't compromise.
I'm not gonna compromise, and here's what I say. There are so many other women around you, and when I talk about a model of mom, there are so many other women around you, and when I talk about a model of mom, don't look for the mother out saying, I love you, I bless you, and I will continue to rock you. I'm signing out saying, I love you, I bless you, and I will continue to appreciate you.
This brand new piece from his brand new The Dorm Room EP. I'm gonna have to let spoken word do what it does best and let it speak for itself. Brand new Sully Breaks.
Right now, there is a kid finishing parents' evening in a heated discussion with his mother, saying, why does he have to study subjects he will never ever use in his life? And she will look at him blank-eyed, stifle a sigh, think for a second, and then lie. She'll say something along the lines of, you know, to get a good job you need a good degree, and these subjects will help you get a good degree. We never had this opportunity when I was younger. And he will reply, but you were young a long time ago, weren't you, Mum? And she won't respond, although what he implies makes perfect sense, that society's needs would have changed since she was 16. But she will ignore him, grip his hand more sternly, then drag him to the car. But what she doesn't know is that she didn't ignore him just to shut him up. She didn't lie because they were just returning from parents' evening and an argument in the hallway would look bad on her resume. She won't lie because she just spent the last 1 hour convincing a stern-faced teacher that she will ensure that her child studies more at home. No, she will lie simply because she does not know any better herself. Although her whole adult life she has never used or applied Pythagoras' theorem, pathetic fallacy, and still does not know the value of x, she will rely on society to tell her that her child, who has one of the sharpest minds in the school, is hyperactive, unfocused, easily distracted, and wayward. Students, how many equations, subjects, and dates did you memorize just before an exam never to use again? How many A grades did you get which were never asked for when you applied for a job? How many times have you remembered something 5 minutes just after the teacher said stop writing, only to receive your results 1 month later to realize that you were only 1 mark short of the top grade? Does that mean remembering 5 minutes earlier would have made you more qualified for a particular job? Well, on the application form it would have. We all have different abilities, thought processes, experiences, and genes. So why is a class full of individuals tested by the same means? So does that mean Sherelle thinks she's dumb because she couldn't do a couple of sums? And if this issue is not addressed properly, it then becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Then every school has the audacity to have a policy on equality. The irony. Exams are society's methods of telling you what you're worth. But you can't let society tell you what you are, because it's the same society that tells you that abortion is wrong but then looks down on teenage parents. The same society that sells products to promote natural hair, looks and smooth complexion with the model on the box half photoshopped and has fake lashes and